Excel Tutorial 1, pages 52 through 58, the last video for this chapter. Alright, on the top of page 52, it says to switch the customer order worksheet to different views. Number 1, click the page layout button on the status bar. The page layout of the worksheet appears in the worksheet window. Okay, that's the far right hand side down here on your status bar. You'll see there's 3 view buttons. The first one is normal, which that's where we work. Then we have page layout, and then we have page break view. They want you to select the middle one, which is page layout. Step 2, drag the zoom slider to reduce the zoom to 50%. Okay, right down here on your status bar, there's your zoom slider. Pull until it reads on the right hand side 50%. There's 50%. The reduced magnification makes it clear that the worksheet will spread over 2 pages when printed. This might not look important now, but I cannot even begin to tell you how important this will be to you later on when you have to print your homework. Click the page break view button on the status bar. That's that one right there. The view switches to the page break preview, which shows only those parts of the current worksheet that will print. A dotted blue border separates one page from another. So as you can see, here's our dotted blue border, and here's the hard blue border that shows the outside. Sometimes when you're in page break view, you're going to see these hash marks. Don't worry, you're okay. That's not how it really looks. Don't worry about things like that. All you want to look at in page break view is literally where the pages are breaking. Zoom the worksheet to 70%. So that you can more easily read the contents. And there you go. Now you can see them. It was just the view that was squeezing them down. It wasn't a real issue in your worksheet. Top of page 53. Click the normal view button. And you return to normal view. Now the dotted black line shows you where your page is going to break. Changing the page orientation. Read those 2 quick paragraphs. Okay? To change the page orientation of the customer order worksheet, number 1, on the ribbon, click the Page Layout tab. The tab includes options for changing how the worksheet is arranged. 2, in the Page Setup group, okay, so now you're going to look at each of your groups. There's Page Setup. Click the Orientation button, and then click Landscape. The worksheet switches to landscape orientation. Click the Page Layout View button on the status bar to switch to Page Layout View. The worksheet will still print on 2 pages. Turn to page 54. Read the setting the scaling options. Again, later when we're printing huge worksheets with tons of different formula that have to be printed for me to grade your homework, the scaling becomes vitally important that you understand how to do it. Okay? To scale the printout of the customer order worksheet, step number 1. On the Page Layout tab in the Scale to Fit group, click the width arrow and then click 1 page. Okay, so we're on our Page Layout tab and we have a Scale to Fit group. So we want to take our width and say condense it onto 1 page. So as you can see, it took it down to only 1 page. In the Scale to Fit group, click the height arrow and then click 1 page. So with our height, we also want only 1 page. Now, go ahead and read the top of page 55. But here's the thing. First of all, I want you to save this. Okay? This is the one you're going to turn in for your graded tutorial. There's going to be some changes in a few minutes, but this is the one I want, okay, because it actually has the data filled in. So we're going to go ahead and print this just like it is, okay? So in order to print this, just follow your instructions. On the ribbon, click File, which takes you to Backstage View. Go to Print, see it right there. And then we can take up, you always want to stop and look and ensure that you have everything correct. It's all on one page. You can read everything. And remember that you have a check file to check this against. Okay, and you should check this against that solution file before you print it. Now, go ahead and just click Print and send to the printer. I'm not going to do that. I don't need to turn this one in for a grade. Okay, so go ahead and click Print, and this is what we call the pretty copy. The pretty copy, you're going to give me 2 copies. First one is a pretty copy, and that's this one. Okay? All right, so what we want to do is we want to click right here, and we want to go to print the entire workbook. So that'll cause your documentation page to print as well. Okay? So when we say print the entire workbook, you can see what happened. Our documentation page popped up. Now it says we have 2 pages to print. If you click this arrow right here, next page, there it goes. And there it is. And obviously you can go back to the documentation page if you need to check them both. Go ahead and hit print so we have them both. All right. Now comes the next part that we need to do. So go ahead and flip to page 56. And it's very important that you read about viewing worksheet formulas, because when you turn in your homework, you turn in both the pretty copy and then the not so pretty copy. And the not so pretty copy is required because that allows me to see your formulas and know that you actually did the work and you didn't just go to the solution file and type the numbers into a cell. Okay? There's actual formulas that are causing the values, and that's not just some little typed in number. So click on your Home tab. We're going to stay in this view. Now, next to the number 1, you'll see a tilde and that other little grave accent mark. Because we're in Southern California, my students are usually more familiar with the tilde. So I always say to blow out your formulas, to expose your formulas, you're going to go Control, hold down your Control key, and press that tilde. Now, do you see what happened? Let's zoom in so that you can see it. Take a look right here. Do you see that? This shows me that you actually did the formulas, okay? So it's very important. You always have to give me your homework 2 different ways, the pretty copy and then the one where I can see the formulas. Now this is a small enough worksheet so that we don't have to do a lot of work to get this to the point where you can turn it in. But there's going to be times, you guys, later in the semester when you do this, and it's going to be 5, 6, 7 pages long. That's why it's important that you learn about scaling and how to make things, press them down onto a couple of pages. Okay? So now we have our copy, and I want to make sure it's still all on one page. And it's fine. So now you're going to go ahead and you're going to go print this one as well. So you'll turn in 2 copies, okay? The pretty copy, and then attach the pretty copy, this copy, the one that's not so pretty. Now when we do this one, remember how last time we flipped it to the entire workbook? This time we actually only need the active sheet. You don't need to print your documentation sheet twice. Your documentation sheet does not have any formulas on it. We only want this one. Okay, so go ahead and hit print. And that's all you have to do. Obviously make sure your name is on it. It should be in your documentation sheet. But I also need it marked in the upper left-hand corner. Okay, raise up your left hand. It's the upper left-hand corner. Last name first. So it's your last name, your first name, tutorial 1, tutorial. Okay, Tut 1, tutorial, whatever you want to call it, so that I can recognize what it is. Because as the semester goes on and there's lots of assignments, they start to kind of look alike to me when I have a whole bunch to grade. So it's very important. On the very front page, you're going to have your documentation sheet. Then you're going to have your pretty copy. Then you're going to have your formulas. On the documentation sheet in the upper left-hand corner, last name, first name, tutorial 1, tutorial. Okay? Always stapled in order, please. Got it? That's it. You finished your first chapter. Okay? Now, finished as in you did your homework that you're going to turn in to me. turn to page 58 and go ahead and finish off this last portion by yourself, but you're not turning that in. That's why I had you print already, because they have you basically go in and clean everything out and make a kind of a blank master file, and I don't want to see that. Go ahead, finish this off on page 58 on your own. It's 12 steps. It's so easy, but do not print that. We just printed what I need. I don't want the stuff that's on page 58, okay? And you're done with this chapter. Good job.